Oh, true that. Test 1 2 1 2. Yeah, y'all see Cathy Abernathy in the studio, but did you know? Did you know? Did you know? So I thought, I around with folks and give them what they. Hot mic coming through. Oh, I know. I've been teasing the people. They see Cathy, but JR's in the building. We put the RV on hold. We put the gas station on stop. We put the daughter in the corner and told her, baby, we're going to have to go on vacation a day late. She started to cry. But then when I explained to her why, she understood. And she was like, all right, Daddy, I'm on board. I'm with you. She cried. She cried. She's going to cry in the car. But I am not one to miss a good Andre Gonzalez story. Come on, y'all. You didn't think I was going to stick around for this?
You get it to work.
Got to give the people what they want.
I had a friend post on her Instagram story that the girl set like on with Andre picture. And I'm like, oh, sweetheart, no.
Dun 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 dun.
Doing wrong. What am I
But I
doing
won't be here
wrong?
tomorrow, you guys. I promise. I won't. I am leaving tomorrow morning. As soon as Scott's show is over, I am on the road and getting to 70-degree weather. I love you guys. I'll try to chime in. Maybe I'll do a YouTube live from out there during the day sometime. Subscribe, hit the notification button. So if we do go live, you'll get notified.
Did you see Epstein's, Gillis's Epstein joke from yesterday's show on the ESPYs?
No, but there was a joke somebody was saying. It was terrible. It was terrible.
There's one.
The Caitlin Clark joke.
Shane Gillis managed.
Actually, it was supposed to be in the Epstein joke here, but as it got deleted.
Oh, that's
Must have probably deleted itself, right? Probably never existed, actually. Let's move on as a country and ignore that.
That's pretty good. No, there was the one. I don't know if it was at the
No, the one I
ESPYs.
saw that was bad was Deshaun. The Deshaun Watson one where he was like, "Put your hands where I can see him," is what they tell Deshaun Watson every time he walks into a.
No, the one it said Caitlin Clark's gonna get a job at a Waffle House because then she's used to fighting black girls.
Yeah,
I was like, wow. I was like, that's funny, but damn. All right, here we go, people. I'm coming in.
Oh.
It's not just Cathy, I promise.
So you want me to go first, right? Okay. Well, yeah, JR, who asked me to cover for him today, but he cares so much about this show that he canceled the first day of his flight to Alaska to be on the show today because of some news breaking things that happened. So let's welcome JR to the JR show.
Yeah, hold up. There we go.
There
How
we
am I guest on my own show already, Cathy?
I don't know. I don't know.
told-
You won't. They were trying to pull you out, and you just kept holding on.
It's like the Godfather. They just pull me back in. No, I was telling people the build up to the show, those that are watching on YouTube, because you can catch us now streaming live on YouTube.
That's right.
Just go to youtube.com and search up Current Radio, and you'll find us right now streaming YouTube. But they were listening in because we go live on there probably about a minute or so before. And so I was telling them I amended the reservation for the RV. I changed my flight plans, and I had to sit my daughter down in the corner and explain to her
Well,
this
she's
morning.
sobbing.
She was crying like a baby in the corner, Cathy, and I had to explain to her why we weren't leaving. And then after I told her, she was like, "Okay, Dad, I'm on board."
Oh, she thought that news was big enough. Well,
Well, she understands. She understands, Cathy. We ran into Andre Gonzalez on Tuesday morning, right? I pick up my daughter from the Haberfeld building Tuesday morning. I walk out, and Andre's sitting in the cafe about to sit down with people, and he sees me and he says, "Oh, hey," and I go over and I'll
and
always,
good to see you, or he forgot to say that.
no, I go over and shake his hand and say,
Right.
"Hi, how's it going?" And then we walk off, and my daughter always goes, "Why are you nice to him?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You don't like him, Dad." And I said, "No, it's not that I don't like Andre. I don't like his policies. I don't like his
That's
leadership.
exactly
I'm
what
fine with Andre as a person. I think he's a good person. I just don't like his leadership skills. That's all." And she's like, "Oh, so every time we see him, it's a joke." She thinks it's funny that Dad goes over and says hi to Andre. So she gets it. Now, what she didn't get, Cathy, is the next thing that I told her.
Which is,
"Let's go, Andre! Team Andre! Team Andre!" And she looked at me confused, like, "Dad, what do you mean?" And I said, "Where do I sign up for his campaign? I want to help. I want to knock on doors. I want to talk to the people about Andre. I want to help get Andre elected."
and you know what he's talking about if you just tuned in.
Sorry.
Because Assemblywoman Baines says she's running for Congress, so she can't run for re-election.
Right, and I had to look that up because I didn't realize that's every 2 years, just
Yeah,
like Congress.
that's
So
just 2 years,
she couldn't do the Vince Vaughn.
She can't do
She's got to
both,
run for
right.
one.
Well, Vince Vaughn too couldn't also do it either. So yeah, they don't have the luxury of a council 4-year seat or a supervisor 4-year
Which is
seat.
crazy in itself. That's a whole nother topic in itself. The fact that as soon as you get elected to Congress, you have to start running again, especially for guys like David Valadao, who is always in a contested seat.
And in a presidential year, our primary in California is March. So actually you get sworn in January, you file for re-election in the fall, and you're on the ballot in March.
Yeah.
So that's, it is.
But like you said, Assemblyman Baines, Dr. Baines announces yesterday that she's going to run for Congress against David Valadao. And so we all do the same thing, where the domino's going to fall. And I tell you what, Cathy, within 10 minutes of Dr. Baines's announcement, I get phone calls and they go, "How long till Andre announces? How long till Andre announces?" To a T, every single one of them said the same thing. "How long till Andre announces?" I was like, come on, you guys, really? I know there's not a seat he doesn't like except for the one he's sitting in, but please, he's not going to. And I wake up today and already, not even, the seat isn't even cold, Cathy.
But what was the second thing they said to you? How soon
are you going to take are you going to run for city council, JR? That was the exact same next question. And I said, hell, I might just run up against Assembly for him just to mess with the guy. I might even pull it off and win, Cathy. I don't know.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. Of course, we don't know the outcome on that, because it's actually going to have to probably be an appointment because he's got an extra, he just got reelected to the council.
He did. He just got sworn in
that's
November.
November.
Yeah, he just got sworn in.
So if he does win,
that's
then
never
they'll have
stopped
to
him before, Cathy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to give up his city council seat to run, though.
No, because he's not up next year.
Because they're on off years. So he can hold the city council seat, run for assembly, and lose and come back to be a city councilman.
Right.
But we're saying, Andre, who's with me to knock on doors and help Andre get elected? And if you're confused at why I'm saying this, Cathy, and all the listeners are like, JR, why do you want Andre to get elected? Well, here it is, Cathy. Andre Gonzalez gets elected to the State Assembly of California. He becomes one vote of a supermajority of Democrats in Sacramento, where his vote doesn't mean a thing. Matter of fact, and I commented this on 17's post, this is the perfect do-nothing job for Andre. He doesn't have to do anything. He just has to show up and vote, Cathy.
And doesn't have to even vote because they have so many Democrats.
It doesn't make a difference. But where does his vote make a difference? on that city council.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
so you take that out of the equation of that city council, and we have a whole different city, a whole different makeup, a whole different future and direction.
There are 80 members in the California State Assembly. And of those 80, I believe right now, at least 60 of the 80 are Democrats.
Or Democrats. That's what I'm saying. Let him go give his one vote. It's not going to, okay.
Right.
It's the perfect.
Well, it will change if my redistricting plan gets funding
to
to change the way we do it. But that's another story.
Your redistricting plans. What about the governor's gerrymandering redistricting plans to fight Trump over in Texas? Oh, you're going to change the lines in Texas? We'll change the lines in California to match you.
And Newsom has the votes in that legislature to say, oh, okay, let's redraw and let's draw 5 more Democrat seats. That'll be in small print. And he'll do it to Congress. That's what he wants to do, to take over the Congress. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. Texas is doing it because they're under a lawsuit to do it. It's a little different than the governor's just sticking his nose in to try to compete in the way they can in this state with that lopsided majority. And I'm going to go into that a little bit today about why it's that way and why we could change it.
What's your thoughts on, does he get anybody in the assembly race to run against him?
A Republican? There's some strong Republicans out there. And I think, let's recall that seat 2 years ago with Baines in it, a young man named Robert Rosas filed, and he did not spend $1. And he got 42% of the vote.
It can be done.
So it can be done. No question about it.
Why not JR?
That's you've already designing signs and bumper stickers.
City council, please. We're going for state assembly.
We're going for this whole enchilada.
I'm going to run for anything he does, Cathy, just for fun.
Just for fun.
Just for funsies.
Well, okay, if you're serious. Now, if we get a strong candidate, you don't want to split the vote.
I will let them have it, and I will back them. Well, no, I don't know. I'm still torn, Cathy.
Just to do it.
No, I don't. Not about running. I think I seriously want Andre to win.
Well, I would have to say to you, and I'll say to our listeners, your local government you can impact. Your council is 7 people.
Yep.
Your board of supervisors is 5 people. You can't do anything to Sacramento right now.
Yep.
So it's a good point that, and just one vote there, switching the 4-3 to being 4-3 more rational.
Oh yeah, it
would be a huge.
It totally changes the direction of our city. No more green on the streets.
Oh,
no more.
I was going to go into that today. I may do it. That's so bad. I hate that.
I'll get out of your way.
No, I'm glad you said it because it just driving here is difficult with how wide a lot of cars and trucks are, and then this stupid green. Narrowing our, what does she call it? Smoothing traffic. It's to narrow the lanes.
Traffic calming.
Calming. It calms you down.
Yeah.
No, I say a cop on the street writing $350 tickets, that calms traffic.
Well, not only calms traffic, but then you get the revenue dollars.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's smarter than paying for green paint and the labor to paint it.
But they're about to do it down, South H.
Are they?
Yeah, they're starting to tear that up.
And it's already a lot of trouble. They took a whole lane out of Union Avenue, and a lot of people just screaming about it.
Oh, it's going to be one lane from Chester all the way down from Ming to Oildale.
Yeah, it makes no sense. On paper, someone stands there and draws something. If you live here and you drive those streets, you know that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
A lot that's got to change. Your point, I'm going to be making that point a lot today and next week when you have me fill in on Wednesday.
Yep.
That you can impact local government and donors. I want to say the same thing to you. You tend to like writing checks to presidential and congressional. How about in Senate? How about your own hometown local?
Oh, and that's why here on the show, Cathy, I try to cover as much local as possible because we can make an impact here. We can make that difference here on the local level and just try to get people engaged.
You are right.
All right. I'll get out of your way. I'm going on vacation now. I'm out. That's all I wanted to say. I said my piece.
You were here to kick it off.
Team Andre all the way. Team Andre. We will get Andre elected across the finish line.
He makes a TV
Thanks
ad
to
out of the live clip we got going right
Andre Gonzalez for a state assembly.
Paid for by JR.
I endorse Andre. Well, just slow down on that one.
I gave my approval on this message.
I'm JR and I approve this message. Thank you for filling in, Cathy. I appreciate it so much. And yeah, I'm going to try to enjoy my vacation. But thank you for filling in. I know you'll do a great job, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Enjoy, Cathy.
All right. Should we take a break now?
take off my hot mic. I don't want to take you guys down the hallway and be like, hey. I will definitely go check out the Vine in San Clemente. Matter of fact, me and my daughter were looking up places last night, Larry, to have steaks in San Clemente, and the Vine popped up. So we probably are actually going to stop by the Vine in San Clemente. Thank you very much. Hey, guys, thanks for hanging out. Enjoy, Cathy. I'm going to pause this.
AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the JR Show.
It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no Senator Song. Welcome back. This is Cathy Abernathy. We had a little bit of JR before he heads out, and it was a fun little chat about what's going on. And let me also say this about the state legislature and the U.S. Congress. There is only one vote that matters when you get up there. You can talk a lot, as I hear Democrats who have represented this area say, well, I'm for oil. I'm for more water. I'm for agriculture. But there's one vote you cast that dismisses all that. If you cast a vote for a Democrat speaker of the state assembly, president of the Senate, or speaker of the House of Representatives, you vote for a Democrat, and all those things you say about you're supporting oil and you're supporting ag go out the window, because they don't. Any bill that's going to get out of a committee, the speaker agrees to. Any bill that's going to pass the floor and go to the governor, the speaker has to agree to. So that vote is the only vote that matters. And if you don't have the votes to change the outcome, it's pointless to be there. But it is a true sign that you actually believe in what you're arguing about. I want to share, we have a special guest that'll come on with us from Washington, D.C. In our 2:35 segment. But some big news came out today, which is a long time coming, but it wouldn't have come under the Biden administration, but it sure came on under the Trump administration, is the high-speed rail. Slow speed, never built, never will be, as we've told everybody, particularly in this town, people that continue to think we should watch the government spend money on it. But President Trump and the Secretary of Transportation said today, no more $4 billion. They're taking it back. California doesn't get it for this high-speed rail. Now, a little history on this high-speed rail, that it was on a ballot, our ballot. It was an initiative put on by the legislature called high-speed rail in 2008. What was going on in 2008? Employment and economy was really tanking. And so it was called a jobs bill because you'd have a job building the high-speed rail, right? The vote on that, to show you it was very close, considering how separate our partisan makeup is of that building up there, where we have barely 17 or 20% of any of the houses up there. The vote, yes for high-speed rail, no for high-speed rail, was 53-47. Pretty tight, right? But this is what the Attorney General stuck in that bill. It said, oh, excuse me, not on this one. That's on the gas tax, and I missed up on that. But it called it a jobs bill. People voted for it. And yeah, it was a job on the taxpayers 16 years ago. 16 years ago, I want to ask anyone to call in that's taken a ride on the high-speed rail in California. I will buy you a ticket to Buenos Aires because something's wrong with you. I'll have to send you down there. There's not 1 inch of track. There's no terminal, even though they're trying to build one, they say, in Bakersfield, which unbelievable. Nothing has been done except contractors got contracts. A few overpasses were built, overpass to nowhere. They just stop. They shoot up in the air a bunch of concrete, get overpaid for it. You've seen it when you've driven 99 Fresno and even out in the Shafter area. So that president has said no to that. And the American taxpayers should say thank you, and the California taxpayers, because it would only have been a noose around our neck. And when they say high-speed rail, this was a trip. It's San Francisco to Lodi down to Bakersfield around through Lancaster and down into LA. 2 weeks later, you get down there on the high-speed rail. It was supposed to be that we all thought at least LA to San Francisco nonstop, just like where the I-5 is right now. But anyway, it didn't happen, isn't going to happen. And thank goodness, because our state's already broke, and any more money on that would have really been atrocious. So remember, when you get those initiatives on the ballot, which will be every November, they don't put them on June anymore. You got to read it. You got to read the pro and the con every time you see those initiatives, so you really know what's going on. It's unfortunate we have attorney generals that will write ballot statements so misleading. Now, again, on the money spending, U.S. Post Office. A friend of mine, Matthew, just shared this with me. Post Office just raised postage again. It is now 78 cents. We're headed to $1 to mail a letter. And the problem for the post office has been is people aren't using mail so much because of the internet and everything. So if they're not using the product much, why do you raise the price of the product? Kind of dumb. And so they've gone in 2020, 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, price of a stamp was 55 cents. Now it's 78 cents. All right. I do the math. I got a math letter in high school. 42% increase in 5 years. 42% increase in postage. Why would you go out now and buy stamps when you hear this? Except they lure you with, you buy it now, we'll honor it even when we raise it to $1.50. Post office should do some reforms, but obviously they got a big fat payroll. They have a huge pension cost. They have huge benefits, health benefits that are very costly. All these things that go into government wooing of their employees is on the back of the taxpayer. And a minimum, I think, should be cut would be Saturday service, because then they could just have the same 5-day-a-week employees. But now they have to have shifts to cover 6 days a week. And I think we can live without it. If they try to tell you, well, go get a P.O. box, I'm sorry. P.O. boxes downtown in these post offices, First of all, they're closed at night, and then they give you a code, and the door hasn't worked in over a year with your code to get to your PO box. So that's not a solution either. The solution may be that we end U.S. mail in this country, because this price is going to just mean retail industry, commercial industry, they can't keep using the mail. So at these prices, because this is our price, but also obviously they have different prices for, the newspaper and people that ship it that way. But every time you hear about these things, it's because government is so generous with the payments to the employees as compared to the private sector, because they never care about the bottom line. Their plan is, even if people don't buy our product, we can raise our prices. Nobody in the private sector, nobody can operate that way. You operate under costs, income, revenue, expenses. You look at it every day. The city of Bakersfield needs to take a note on this, because this is how you get in huge debt. And our post office obviously is frantic about paying their pension program for their employees as they retire. Same problem you got here in California with this legislature. And I'll explain it to you if I have time today. If not, I'm hosting again on Wednesday. I'm going to go more into this term that sounds technical, but it isn't. Redistricting. It's how you get the legislators and congressmen in this state, how their districts are drawn to prevent you from having the impact your vote could have. And we'll go into that when we come back. But this high-speed rail, I think they should have to tear down these concrete monuments that are standing in the middle of nowhere. I think any talk of building a terminal in Bakersfield off of the Golden State Highway, we shouldn't even answer the phone when they call about doing that, because it's not going to happen. Maybe they'll build a terminal, but they'll never have any track to it. So kind of pointless to have a terminal. This is just rational looking at the state of California, and don't think all of us that want to stay here, and I want to stay. I'm not one of those looking to move to Idaho or Tennessee and where all my friends are going. But if you stay here, you're going to be paying for the benefit package that the state of California and local government have offered to their employees that is more generous than what you're getting. And so the problem is, how's it going to be paid for? And a lot of these state and county workers, when they retire, where do they go? They go to another state and to retire where the cost of living is lower. So we're going to be spending tax dollars trying to pay their benefits while they're spending their pension retirement money in another state. It's how crazy is this, Chris? I can't figure out why people don't wake up to what's happening, why we're broke in a state as rich as this state should be. But so it goes. We will be, we're going to be getting our conversation. Our next conversation is going to be on energy and what's happened with the policy. Another great success from the Trump administration. So we want you to hang on for that. This is Cathy Abernathy covering on the JR Show.
The JR Show.
It's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since.
Hello,
it's been.
JR Show. This is Cathy Abernathy filling in just until 3 o'clock. And then, of course, Ralph Bailey will be on for his segment. And I'll be filling in next Wednesday as well for JR from 2 to 3 p.m. If you want to mark it on your calendar so you don't go anywhere, you got your radio on in the car or online, whatever way you listen, because you wouldn't want to miss it. But I want to say we have a excellent guest again from Heritage Foundation, and I urge all of you to go to their site and read some of these great articles that they write that you won't find in most newspapers or periodicals. They're really, really very educational. And the woman that I'm having on today, Diana Furchtgott-Roth. Diana Furchtgott-Roth. She's with the director of the Center for Energy, Climate, and Environment. And usually I hear those words and I cringe, but because it's with the Heritage Foundation, it's not cringeable, it's believable. And she's got a great analysis on that. Diana, welcome to the show.
It's great to be with you, Cathy.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we go into the specific energy one, the one you wrote about, the folks are trying to blame the Trump administration staff cuts possibly at FEMA for why the river rose, which I don't know how they can do that, but I appreciate that article because you had a very good statistic in there, which was, I think there's 5,000 employees at FEMA and 147 are weather forecasters, something like that.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, I don't think they'd lay off the 147, but maybe the 5,000 might be a tad too many. But I just thought that was really interesting. The first thought that the media tried to put out there was about that. But your comment about your quick analysis on that before we get into energy.
I think what's really important is that we have a system of alerts that people know when there is a storm, then they need to take action. Mm-hmm. And the problem is sometimes there's an overuse of alerts and people just become immune to them or they turn the alerts on the phone off. People need to realize to take these National Weather Service alerts seriously.
That's a good point because I got to be honest, sometimes I'll hear the TV where it goes, that notice, something's flashing on the TV, but I just think it's their test because it's always their test. But when it isn't their test, I better be paying attention every time. And so I can see how that happens. And of course, in this situation, the tragicness of having children, so many of them right by that river, that made it triply bad. But
plus there had been deaths at that camp before in other storms in 1987, not necessarily in that camp, but in other camps in the same location.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And there are regularly floods in that particular location.
Right. Is that the Brazos River? I don't know I can't recall the name.
The Guadalupe River.
Guadalupe, yeah.
Guadalupe River,
yeah. That does take, and I know this camp has a lot, and the other camps I'm sure have a lot of long-time people, visitors, and they come every year, and so it's tough on them too. But this was a tough, ugly wake-up call. So, but getting back to your article about why American energy dominance and what the president's doing on waking up the world to what this whole green fight has done to the so-called green, all the gimmicks that have come up through the Congress and through federal agencies. Tell us about that.
Well, it's really terrific that the president is now focusing on production of oil and natural gas, and that he has managed to get the credits for wind and solar rolled back, because the more wind and solar are layered on the grid, the more expensive electricity becomes. It's as though I said to you, Cathy, I'm going to give you a beautiful Mercedes-Benz, but you can only drive it during the day. It's free, but you can only drive it during the day. You might say, but Diana, I need to drive at night too. I say, too bad, Cathy, you need another car to drive at night. And you say, but 2 cars? That's 2 sets of oil changes, 2 sets of gas fill-ups, 2 sets of insurance payments. I say, too bad, Cathy, that's the way it is. And it's like that with wind and solar. The sun shines for free, the wind blows for free, but you always need a backup. So you, in essence, need 2 systems feeding electricity, feeding energy to your electricity grid. And that's more expensive than just having, say, a natural gas power plant, which is usually used as a backup, running continuously. it makes electricity more expensive. And when you have incentives for wind and solar, but not natural gas, more and more wind and solar is layered on it, but you don't have the backup. So you have more and more cars you can drive during the day, but at night, there's nothing that works. Which is why you have blackouts.
Right. The Biden administration really pushed this to the brink, right? A lot of so-called climate, energy, green savings, but the cost is incredible now on the production. Like the auto industry has had a lot of severe impact from these decisions they've made.
Exactly, yes. And we can see the price of electricity is going up steadily, that those states that require renewables, that require wind and solar, are more expensive than states that do not. So if you compare Utah, 11 cents per kilowatt hour, with California, 32 cents a kilowatt hour, it's 3 to 1. And that is because anytime you layer more wind and solar, the taxpayer has to pay for the subsidies, has to pay for the wind and solar, has to pay for the backup, has to pay for the slower growth because electricity is more expensive. That taxpayer is paying 4 or 5 times over.
Right. And I've thought about, the trouble for us, we're in a pretty warm climate here. And I grew up down near Palm Springs, Coachella Valley, where they have a lot of windmills, and which we don't have near enough wind for it, I'm sure. But we do have a lot of sun, but we don't between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m., right? But I think about all these other states, at least 40 of them don't have near the clear skies every day. They have cloudy, they have, all kinds of different weather that the consistency of using solar and wind is you can't predict.
Yeah, and it's difficult to be powering your electricity grid with all these different types of energy. It's much easier if you power it with one source, one system, and you let that just run continuously without having to cycle in and out of other kinds.
Yeah. So, what do you see? You're speaking to an audience here in Kern County. When we're allowed to, we produce more oil than Oklahoma. We're a big oil producing area, but our governor and the feds over the years have really put a crimp in that, and our governor's been shutting down refineries. We're hoping that this opens things up.
Yeah, I hope so too. And it's really important in terms of keeping people in the state, keeping electricity prices low, keeping commerce going. All of this is very important. Low electricity prices drive an economy. Plus, you don't want to have any blackouts. If you have blackouts, then stores that have refrigeration. Think of an ice cream store with a blackout. That means all their ice cream has to be sold right away at a fire sale price if it doesn't go bad beforehand and melt. So blackouts, a resilient electricity grid, these are vital for a growing economy.
Well, it's so good that we have a president that is pushing hard on this. I mean, you've watched over the years them piling on all these requirements, particularly on automobile manufacturers and others. But how do we climb out of this? Because like you said, these subsidies have eaten up a lot of money. How do we get our industries? Are we going to have to encourage? What encouragement can we get going here that doesn't cost us a boatload? Or I'd like to get back the money that was given to all these entities, all the credits that people buy and sell. Do you see this coming fruition pretty quickly, that we're going to get back to oil, gas, natural gas, get moving?
Now that the subsidies are phasing out, there's going to be a lot less incentive for people to produce it. And I think that there's going to be more of a focus on natural gas and oil, and that's going to be very beneficial for California and for the entire economy.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I saw in your article that when Biden wrote that Inflation Reduction Act, which did nothing to reduce inflation, increased it actually, he gave tax breaks to a lot of folks, but not to oil, gas, and coal, which are, you know better than I consider those pretty reliable sources of energy. Those industries, have they closed down a lot in this country? I mean, I don't know how quickly any of them can restart.
No, the oil and natural gas that has continued to produce. We are now an oil and natural gas market maker. We produce about 13 million barrels a day. We are a really good producer, but we could be producing even more and exporting it to our allies and further dominating the world energy economy. That's what we're aiming to do.
Mhm. Yeah, I've been stunned that our governor is willing to purchase it from dictatorships over, like right here in Bakersfield and Kern County. And he gets away with it because the media is so caught up in the word green. And yet it's been such a cost on our economy. It'll be nice if we have a chance to get beyond this. So what do you see maybe over the next? Well, with President Trump, we just got 3.5 more years of him, and I'm hoping the next president won't go back to the way things were. Do you think most even foreign countries? I know it's semi-bankrupt Europe, hasn't it? All these green plans that Al Gore put on them.
They really have, Cathy. I mean, electricity prices, here in the United States, it's an average of about 17 cents per kilowatt hour. In Germany, it's 39 cents per kilowatt hour. It's basically more than double. In the UK, it's around 36 cents per kilowatt hour. So yeah, manufacturing is stagnant in Germany, which used to be the manufacturing hub of Europe. Germany is experiencing practically no economic growth. That means people don't get raises. They have a hard time finding jobs. And a lot of manufacturing is coming here to the United States, especially to the Southeast, where electricity is inexpensive.
Inexpensive?
Inexpensive, yeah.
Inexpensive.
Electricity is cheap in the Southeast, and so a lot of manufacturing. So you see these auto plants, you have BMW, you have Audi, you have Nissan, you have Honda. They're in the Southeast of the country. And a lot of these are coming from Germany. We even have Volkswagen.
Well, and it's an international situation when we have our allies like Europe in a situation where their economy is faltering and they don't have the money to both provide for their defense as well as welfare for their people, which most of Europe is way deep into the welfare state. And this could be, if they stay out of this, get out of this trap, they can get back to being able to support their constituency through jobs, not social welfare programs, which is where, as you know, our country's been headed that way too, too much so. Now the other, like the whole relationship between Iran and China and Russia on the oil, how can we have an impact there?
I think we can really have an impact by providing more oil and natural gas to our allies. And if you look at all the times Russia has invaded another country, it's been when oil prices have been high, because that means that they get more and they use it to fund these attacks on other countries. So if we can dominate the oil market, that's going to help us in terms of geopolitics.
Right. That's a real important point. I hope the audience understands. Yeah, Russia depends on oil sales. That's why sanctions and things can cripple them. But you're right. That's when they're out there in battles more so. And if Europe has to rely on them, that's not good. We want them to rely on other sources. Iran, of course, provides oil, I guess, to China, right? Are they their main supplier? I don't know how we're ever going to get. I don't know if we do a percent. I don't know if you do know if we provide. I doubt we're doing that, but I'm ignorant of that subject.
Yeah, Russia sells its oil to China, and Iran has its own oil, but we are increasingly dominating the oil and natural gas area. No one thought 10 years ago we would be an oil and natural gas exporter, and now we are.
Yeah.
And President Trump is going to make that even more true with allowing offshore drilling, allowing drilling off Alaska, opening up Alaska to oil development. President Biden took 66 separate actions against Alaska to stop Alaska producing oil and natural gas. And President Trump is changing that.
Goodness, and we're speaking with Diana Furchtgott-Roth, F-U-R, I want to spell it because I want you folks to follow her writings, Furchtgott Roth. And she's filling us in on the changes that President Trump and the Secretary are making on energy so that we can get out of this horrible rut we've been in. But you're right. I was reading about Alaska, how they have suffered economically because they've been so crippled by the Biden administration. All these things that just never made news like it should have, because we all depend on these various things: water, food, and fuel. There's nothing else. I mean, you got to have those. And to think that you'd cripple Alaska, which what was a huge benefit of adding it to the United States was all the minerals and all the oil and everything that they have. But why we've been punishing is part of this mental set, and the colleges and universities push it, and they push it in the high schools, that somehow this word green is some magical number when it's really just a taxpayer funded escape from reality, I guess. That's about what I'd say.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, yes. But things are going to change. There's a lot that's changed under President Trump. One of the biggest changes has been electricity production.
Right.
So we should be grateful for that.
That is so correct. That's what makes this article, the one I'm quoting a lot from, folks, if you want to look at it, is why American energy dominance is a strategic imperative. You want to look at that, as well as the danger of blackouts is why Donald Trump declared an energy emergency his first day in office. And of course, every day he's been in office, there's been some strong statement come out, but on some new policy. And this day one, this is it, because we know how we suffer over that. And I take double takes right now, Diana, when I look at the gas prices. Even here, they've been high, but they've been so much lower. And I keep thinking, being we live in California with this ridiculous highest gas tax in the nation, even with that, our prices aren't horrendous right now. So,
Exactly.
Well, you're bringing some good news to us, and I want to thank you for that, and thank you for your time and your expertise that you're sharing with all of us. If you have any other bright spots to tell us, let me know. If not, we'll thank you and take a break. But this is real positive. When I read your article, I thought, well, I got to have you on, because this area, we love energy production, and we're glad to hear how it looks to be changing.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Okay, thank you. And then we're closing with Diana First Got Roth, and she's with the American Heritage. You need to go to the Heritage Foundation and look at their articles. You will see you'll learn a lot, as I do. I'm not just this naturally brilliant. I have to read these things. So, all right, we're going to be right back for the last segment of the JR Show. This is Cathy Abernathy.
News Talk News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the JR Show.
She is like a cat in the dark, and then she is the dark.
All right, we're back. Kathy Abernathy here, filling in while JR takes a needed vacation, although he sounded pretty lively when he was here at the start of the show. So I don't know how he's going to calm down during vacation. But I wanted to comment on a Bakersfield, Californian editorial. And the title was, "For your vote to count in 2026, you must," all in caps, "vote early." All right, let me just tell you at the start, I don't believe in voting early, because that means you're voting pretty much in ignorance, especially in the general, when in the general is the only time your city council and your school boards are on the ballot. They really get lost in these elections because they're looking at governor and all the statewide offices like next November 26, or in a presidential year, or US Senate races, or congressional races. Those are all kind of sexier issues to think about. But where you can have an impact is your school board and your city councils. And if you vote, being they don't even file to run until the middle of August and start their campaigns, there isn't a lot of time to learn about all of them if you vote early, which, there are states that send their ballots out to people September 10, which is, I think, outrageous to start voting that early, because that just means you're probably voting for all the incumbents, which is what they want you to do, because the incumbents are majority Democrats. So I really urge people to not fall for that. But that was their basic headline. And their reasoning is, to me, even worse. And I was going to write a response, but I'll just do it on the air, I guess. That one of the pitches is that, the problem is, why does it take so long? Well, don't blame the elections clerk, because everybody's getting mail ballots in their home and they're harder to process. Okay, it didn't used to be that way until a couple years ago, when Gavin Newsom decided, no, it's not going to be that you ask for an absentee ballot, which is what worked here for 100 years, and they mail you one. Instead, he sends them to every million names he can find in this state. And so people have them, and then they may struggle to vote with them. But it's not a problem unless you say Gavin Newsom shouldn't have mailed everybody one and instead had people go to the polls, which they've been used to doing for 150 years. Another reason is that, do you think voters are so stupid that they somehow they know they got to pay their taxes by April 15? When your credit card bill is due, if it's due April 10 and you mail it April 10, you know what? You get a fine, all right? You get interest on it. So if the deadline to get your ballot is by 8 p.m. Tuesday night, I think you're going to put it in the mail by at least Thursday. I think you know to do that with your credit card. The DMV will fine you if you don't pay on time. Your property tax will fine you. The library will fine you. Your college applications have to be in. You can't get away with saying that, we have to let the voters drop their ballots as late as election day in the mail, and then wait for them to come in. Which, by the way, part of the language says, or by a delivery service. And when I questioned the Assembly Elections Committee, does that include Abernathy delivery service? I mean, what is a delivery service? So we're closing off here pretty quick, but I want to say, I'd rather a voter was educated. I'd rather a voter could go election day, because then they've got all the campaign materials from all sides and can make a smart decision, not just to vote for any incumbent. It's the only name I know. As I say, if I run against Charles Manson statewide, he's going to win because he has higher name ID. That's not great. So we're going to be signing off here. I am going to be on again next Wednesday, same time, filling in for JR. So I want to thank our guests from the Heritage Foundation, and I want to thank all of you for listening. And we will see you again soon. And next up, of course, is the great Ralph Bailey.